Dreams are not reached, potential is not fulfilled, and success is not attained because of one thing: fear of failure. We all go through it, but what is it that we can start to do to really make sure that it doesn't take over our lives and we could continue to take that action? If you're new to the channel, my name is Bennett Schwartz and I'm a high performance coach working with people both personally and professionally, making sure that they're living the lives that they want to be living. If you're looking to live a richer life, make sure to hit the subscribe button. When I was transitioning from my W-2 to my entrepreneur journey, I was so scared. And I remember the phone was in my pocket and I needed to make a phone call to my boss to tell her that I was going to be moving on. But what was interesting is that I was moving on to a different industry altogether. And the reason why I was so scared is because there was so much at stake. Let's say it didn't work out. Let's say I ran out of money. Or let's say I was just ruining my biggest opportunity I had. And yet in spite of that, I was able to take the action to move forward and quit my job to move to become an entrepreneur, and I am not looking back. So today I'm gonna break down the framework that we can start to do to make sure we can start to take that action. Because in your life, if you want to succeed, it's going to be on the other side of doing something difficult. And fear of failure is real, and fear of failure is a thing that so many people struggle with because they're scared that things are going to go wrong. The first belief that we need to break is to understand that if we feel scared to do something and we're not taking the action, it's actually a really good thing. You see, when we're looking to take things to the next level, there's going to be discomfort. And fear of failure is just our brains telling us, I'm not necessarily so ready for this, but I know this is something that I want to be doing. And so many times people are reacting differently to fear of failure. If we could start to embrace fear of failure as something that is helping us grow, then we can start to see what is the action we need to take. That is the first place where I work on with my young adults, to recognize that if we are looking to grow, it's going to be uncomfortable. We have to set the proper expectation and know that there's nothing bad with that. Just like you're going to the gym, if you only stick to the 5 pounds, you're probably not going to grow your muscles. But if you constantly look to increase the weight, so you're going to be able to move forward and really start to see the growth. And that's what our brains are doing. When we are growing, it is going to be difficult. It is going to be hard, but understanding that it is necessary to take it to the next level. And once we start to plateau, that's when our fulfillment, our meaning goes down the drain and we start to just feel bad about ourselves. So tip number 1 is to recognize we need to embrace this feeling and realize it's something that is going to be beneficial to us to move forward. The second thing we need to understand about fear of failure is that it might pop up in different areas. One of the biggest areas that it pops up in is this idea of perfectionism. Because so many times people are constantly preparing to take a certain action, but they could be preparing for years. And what we have to realize is that at a certain point, we have enough information, we have enough data, and all we really need to do is to start to take the action. So if you are waiting to know 100%, or if you're waiting for things to be perfectly aligned, just recognize that might really be fear of failure. Of course, we have to be prepared. And of course, we should do our due diligence. But recognizing that at a certain point, it's not about the information we collect, but it's about the action that we take. Because action does speak louder than words. And how many times have we had an idea and we thought about so many different aspects to it, but all that did was held us back from moving forward. And if you're somebody who knows you're trying to wait for things to be perfect, recognize that might be fear of failure, and all we need to do is to start to acknowledge it in order to take that action to move forward. Another place where it can pop up is imposter syndrome. You see, when we're looking to take on a new role or to do something different, we've never done it before. So of course we're going to be scared. And what we need to recognize is that we have the ability to move forward and take action. And really all it is the fear of failure. We're scared we're going to mess up. We're scared we're not prepared or we're not qualified to really take that action. If we could start to say to ourselves, hey, how can I reframe this idea? Then we can really start to make things a little bit different. The third tip about fear of failure is to recognize that we're usually focusing more on the negative aspect when it comes to the thing we're going to mess up. And if we could start to realize, hey, there's also positive outcomes that can happen, then we could start to get more excited about it. And this is what Dr. Nate Zinsser talks about when athletes are trying to perform at a high level. When they come to a performance, what they have to realize is that yes, they can mess up, but yes, they could also succeed. And that really makes the difference between nerves and excitement. Because internally, our nervous system is the same, but we're translating it differently. So when we have an opportunity in front of us and we're starting to be scared about something, recognize that that might be coming from a place of nervousness and constantly looking at the negative as opposed to looking at the positive and starting to get excited about it. Maybe make a list of all the positive outcomes just so you can start to move forward and really start to take that action. Of course, it's easier said than done, but at least starting with the list can be the impetus to get us moving forward and to realize that every time we start to get that emotion of fear, try to think of one of those things that could really go well and really change things for you in the positive. So practically, how are you supposed to take the action? Because let's say you're able to recognize what is going on, and you're able to reframe these ideas, it's still very scary to take that action. And if we can recognize that we can prepare ourselves enough, then we can start to do the things we need to do. And when I work with my students on this, we have to realize that we have the ability to really start to prepare ourselves better. And if we could start to break our goals down in smaller chunks, then we'll be able to move forward. You see, so many times we have a task at hand, and maybe there's 10 different steps, and we think we need to get all 10 done today. But what happens is we get so nervous and so scared to take the action, we just keep pushing it off, and we might push it off for weeks, months, or maybe even years. But if we could start to break that task into those 10 steps, and maybe those 10 steps into 2 or 3 steps, we can start to take the action. So after a couple of days or weeks, we'll be able to be complete with everything that is on our list. Sometimes breaking it into smaller steps can be the thing that's going to make the difference for us to start to take the action. And the last idea about fear of failure is to recognize there's going to have to be a leap of faith. There's going to be some time in your life that you're going to feel uncomfortable, and nevertheless, you're still going to have to take that jump. Give yourself permission to take that jump. Understand that a life worth living is going to be that life that you're going to be able to embrace, to look back at both the positive and the negatives and say, I'm so happy I took these specific actions because I was able to become somebody from this. What is something in your life that you are scared to be doing? What is something that you know you should be moving forward with? Prepare yourself as much as possible, break it down into small tasks, and look to take that first action. Action breeds action, and the more action we can start to take in a closer amount of time, we're going to start to see the success that we want. At the end of the day, it's your life, and you get to decide what action you want to be taking. And if you're scared, hopefully you got some tips today in order to break that down, and you're going to be on your way to be taking that first step that you know you need to be taking. Let me know in the comments below which idea resonated with you the most. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you really like this type of content, make sure to check out this next video, which I really think you're going to enjoy.